Hey folks, this is part 1 of 2 with one of my favorite human beings on the planet, Christopher Plakut. Christopher's honest and lovely, and he's the first guest to make me cry on my own comedy podcast, folks. So if there's some sort of award you can scrounge up for that, then he definitely wins. Part 2 will be up next Monday. Y'all already know how this works with these two-parters. A quick listener note, this podcast endorses and opposes a lot of things. Y'all already know I'm loud about all of those things. But one thing we neither endorse nor oppose is the sanctity of a 12-step experience for the person that chooses that path. You will hear Christopher mention his own experience with being in the rooms, and that is entirely his own experience and opinion. You can see the show notes for ways you can form your own opinion on that particular path to recovery. We appreciate y'all so much and are so grateful y'all keep listening. Now let's get on with this very lighthearted, laugh riot of a show. I promise we eventually have fun, and it's great. He's just really authentic and tells the truth, and that's what I want. That's all I want for all my guests. All right, y'all, enjoy the show.
You know, I'm like the Amish, you know what I'm saying? So here's me, I'm like, can I do this on an iPhone? You know, 2 minutes ago, as I'm pulling the neighbor I don't even know next door, I'm like, I need a techie is there a techie in the house? And see this Wi-Fi here? We're not at the best hotel right now.
Oh, okay. I assume as much. Well, for the record, folks, I've lost connection with Christopher now one time. So this is probably going to continue to happen, and I'm going to hate it. I love him, but he's in a hotel room and the connection is not great.
How cute are you right now?
Wait, you too.
I'm so, is this no double chin today?
No, you look amazing. Amaze. Also, do you age? Is there do you ever age? Because you look the same.
Oil Valet. My mom, you know how she's almost 70. She looks 40.
Yeah.
Because of Oil Valet. I swear to God, I will be on my deathbed. And last thing I asked for is blonde hair and Oil Valet. It's just two things that has to be.
It just has to
your
be.
hair, you look like stunning. You need to take photos with that hair.
Thanks, boo. Yeah, I'm letting it grow out.
Braids, you know what I'm saying?
I should. You're right.
Can I get a what? Okay.
Okay, so 2 things I'm going to tell you. So in your bio, I mentioned how quickly you talk, but you do not have to change any way you speak. Don't do anything for me. I just am giving people a heads up because you talk so fast, and that's okay, and it'll totally work. But right. I just want people to have a fair warning so they know.
If you have to ask, you're already in the past, sweetie.
See?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And people need to know.
Listen here, Blossom. You thought 6 talk fast? We got 7 here. Anyway.
The pen that you are currently clicking is definitely catching. I'm sorry. I know it's hard. Okay. It's so hard not to fidget. And
I was writing, yes.
Oh,
okay.
You can totally write. If you.
Oh, no, I was just ready for notes.
Okay. Totally okay.
Yeah.
And do you have gum in your mouth? You no longer do. I'm so mad at everything right now. Why do we not do this all the time? Okay.
9 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Do not click that pen one more time, Mr. Blackie. No, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, members of a gay.
We are never getting through this.
No, we're never. 6 hours later. It's okay. Anyway, I was telling you. Yeah, you know, yes.
Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, hi, you're listening to Service from Hell, a podcast featuring people that are currently in customer service positions or the lucky few that got out and all of the good, bad, and infinitely irritating things that go along with that work. I'm actor and writer Kate Gaffney, and am uniquely qualified to discuss this as I used to work at a very busy and very popular comedy club in Los Angeles, and at least one of you listening right now has probably grabbed me and told me you were ready to order when I was running around like a crazy person. So, let's eat! I'd like to welcome our guest, Christopher Plakut. Christopher is from the great state of Minnesota, which you are for sure going to be able to hear when he finally gets going on this episode. And he's been a performer since he was born. He wrote an original show, Liver, after he almost died from his lifestyle in Los Angeles, true story, and took it on an international tour with much success. He also toured with Up With People on stages literally all around the globe for several years. He's traveled to over 31 countries and taught English to adorable Chinese children. Isn't that nice? He marks the first guest we've had on that won the Diamond Award for Best Server in the country. Isn't that nuts? He really is actually amazing with people and actually also quite seems to like them. He's very unique, folks. We haven't had anyone on like him yet. What a world. Anyway, Christopher describes himself as, quote, an upbeat, unique, understandable, unforgettable, and unstoppable soul that loves people, loves loves life and loves laughter. And my God, if that is not the absolute truth for this adorable, wonderful human that you guys are all about to get to know and love, I better know Christopher from the wonder that is the Hard Rock Cafe that is now actually torn down in Universal City, California, RIP. And before he comes in, I want to warn you all, he talks faster than anyone I have ever met, including myself. I did not change his cadence in the editing. This is Christopher. So listen for a few minutes. You'll catch on eventually because you don't want to be left behind because Christopher's amazing. You're going to love him as much as I do. So tell us, Christopher, how was it? You are currently on tour all over the country with dinosaurs. What's that? Do you miss Los Angeles? Get us up to speed today. What's happening?
D, all of the above. Let me just start right there because we can say E actually because we like the extra options. We like choices too. Yes, I'm currently with dinosaurs. The dinosaur adventure is what I'm on, and Carnivore Chris. You like the hot meat, you know what I'm saying? Hot meat, which led to the hard. Anyway, we'll get there. Baby steps. And so when I got the job, I knew 3 dinosaurs. Now I can name over 30. As long as you got something with a saurus, you're doing good. Like a little saurus, you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? And the kids will correct you. Yeah, yes. So dinosaurventure.com for all that information. But anyway, back to that Carnivore Chris. Yeah. So I just think my 30th city with the tour right now, and we are currently in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
And, the springing. So, in COVID's, we'll get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That too. But here's the deal with that whole situation. The indoors are opening up again. So we're looking at going back indoors versus outdoor.
Okay. So right now it's set up. So can you explain? So we'll hear your history in a second. But since we're talking about the dinosaur adventure thing, so it's a dinosaur experience. Is that what it is?
So before COVID, we went from convention center to convention center is what it was. And we had an activity side. And we had a scene side. And then you walk to the retail store to get that money glass grab. But anyway, so to get to the money grab, though, oh gosh, I can't wait to get on that whole thing. But yes, to get to the money grab thing, I mean, they're dragging you through a $50 dinosaur. But anyway, so we get there and so then COVID hits, okay? We're just about to take off. We're in the midst of Denver. We're in Denver Heights, you know what I'm saying? And who doesn't love Denver? Do you know what I'm saying? As we're super, just happy. But anyway, and all of a sudden the governor comes in, he's like, anyway, COVID shuts us down. They reopen. They cut off the activity side. But they want to bring it as an exhibit. So when I say an exhibit, there's 21 scenes, 19, 21 scenes, 19, actually set up. It depends on the city, depends what kind of, I don't want to say the help, shall we say the misters or the misses that come in to assist us. I would say a dinosaur adventure, but there's always a grander adventure when you guys are here. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because they get to do the babies for me too. Babies, you say? Babies. Because we got Triceratops, Trixie the Triceratops, Allie the Allosaurus. Actually, that's a lie. That's Cookie now, because Allie, that's another story. But just like I have a fake leg now because of the dinosaur adventure. But so we have Trixie the Triceratops, we've got the Velociraptor, and we've got what's my first one? Dot. My T-Rex. So, and those are when I say this, I say I'm arm babies because my arm is literally shoved up a puppet's ass.
So you mouth the puppet with your hand up its ass. That's how you make the dinos talk.
Oh, and you would not believe the comments I get from people that are like, he jumped in my car. I was like, I don't know how, because unless I'm an octopus or I have because my arms are so busy, I'm literally shoved up all the way through with one arm, guiding it with the other. And they said I jumped in their caravan and gave their daughter COVID. I was like, don't you have to have COVID to get COVID?
Christopher.
Yes. And I said, give me the date, give me the time. What was she wearing? Who's going on? You know what I mean? So, because we'll have up to 10,000 to 11,000 cars in 2 weeks go through this exhibit.
Okay.
In each city.
Okay, so we're going to get into that. We'll get into the job stuff in a little bit. So I want to go backwards. So you are from Little Falls, Minnesota, right?
Oh, you betcha there, don't you know there, Margie? Oh, yeah, we're the home of the tater tot hot dish. And a land of 10,000 lakes and mosquitoes there, don't you know? Yeah. Yes, I am from Little Falls, whatever. Yes, and it's the heart of Minnesota. I do repeat, the heart of Minnesota.
Okay.
You can get there, yes.
Okay. And then you started with Up With People, which is a touring theater company. It's nationally competitive. It's insanely hard to become a part of it. And so you became a part of that whilst you were living in Little Falls, in high school?
Well, that award-winning personality that shines through every now and then, you know what I'm saying? So I actually, this is a kind of ironic story. I was going to Florida for the winters, and I was coming back to Minnesota in the summer working at Madden's Resort. It's like Dirty Dancing without the shack, let me tell you what. Anyway, but so Madden's Resort, and then I would go to Florida in the summer. I would go to Florida in the winters. 6 months, great times. You know what I'm saying? I was a snowbird at 19. Come on now. And so then, and my 1980 yellow Buick Skylark, mind you, I packed up my 1980 yellow Buick Skylark, which I had to put a pencil through the radiator in the front just to get it started.
Oh my God.
No insurance. I mean, yeah, it was like a smiley face on wheels. It was cool. Even the radio, remember that little orange thing that would go back and forth? Like, you know what I mean? You're lucky if you got two stations, and one was polka, and one was like, Carrie Underwood. You know what I'm saying? But Carrie Underwood wasn't even around, but that's okay. Ghetto Superstar. That's what Ghetto Superstar. Anyway, so I was literally coming back from Florida. We had Chris Fest because I was missing everybody. I was only there for 6 months. We had Chris Fest for 3 days and 2 nights. Like I signed T-shirts, Chris Fest. Chris was leaving Florida. I pull in from Florida, Clearwater Beach, Florida. That night, I'm just hungover for almost 3 days later. Just a mess. I don't know what, like mascara down to my ankles. What am I doing next? My friend Jill is in town with helping people. They haven't been in Brainerd, Minnesota in 8 years. Talk about a sign, universe. Hello. Jill, I go to Jill's show. I'm bawling for her because like her energy and just like her magnitude and how much she's grown. She comes up to me after the show. She goes, Chris, I like this, but you're going to love this. Go audition. And let me tell you what, Up With People to this day, I still use as, just as a resume. I mean, it changed my life. It changed my world, actually, because 130 of us from 23 different countries for one whole year.
Wow.
23 of us, 130 from 23 countries for one whole year. Those stories, that's a whole nother, you know what I'm saying? But yeah.
And you toured.
And guess what? If you can't carry it, you don't bring it. You know what I'm saying? They call my suitcase the human. But anyway, we'll get there.
Okay, so you with that touring company, so you went all over the world. Now, where would you were you putting on some kind of predetermined show? Was it improv? What was it?
So it all starts out, and by the way, it's not Christian based, everybody. Everyone thinks it's this whole like Christian, let's get that out of the way right away. And by the way, Up With People is the very first ever show for the Super Bowl to have flags in a band. And they started what is now Beyonce, sing, you know what I mean? To this day, Up With People was the first one to come out with flags and those, the guns and the bubble, the toy. And they were the first one that started a show during halftime because they're like, why wouldn't we do something? And it was so cheesy wheezy, but you know what? Good for Up With People because it's a 35-year legacy. I was the last cast to do one whole year. I went to 18 different states, Mexico, Canada, and Japan. Ohio gozaimasu. Watashi wa Chris says, America kamashita. Hi. And then, so you learn a show, you do a 2-hour Broadway musical. 2-hour Broadway musical? I wouldn't say Broadway. I just say 2-hour musical. If you can't sing, well, guess what? There's other things for you to do. But so I was a shimmier, but that's another story. But entertainment, you know what I'm saying? So all the facial expressions, you always get that part because you got the loudest mouth, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, and so you learn 2-hour Broadway musical, and then you stay with host families, and you do community service in every city you visit. When I say every city, you don't know who, and every time you meet a host family, there's something new. There's a meet and greet. So let's just say you pick up your schedule. You hope to God you have roommates, and you go, oh, hey, Sam, Surly, and Snootsky. And you're like, oh, there's a toothbrush. And you're like, toothbrush? You have to go across to the grocery store, and who's ever holding the toothbrush in the toothbrush aisle, that's who you go home with for the week.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Oh my God. In every city, they get creative. You know what I'm saying? Like we had a fashion week one week. We had to put on clothes that didn't even fit us, like a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, and then put it on a walkway. And the family that would wave and be like, ooh, ooh, you know what I'm saying? That's the family you went home with for the week. Then I get hosted by myself. McAlester, Oklahoma. Kids, there's a great big prison. You know what I'm saying? Be careful, blah, blah. I get hosted by myself, pick up my little schedule. I'm like, oh, the truck pulls up. It's dark on one side. I was like, cool. I hop in. I'm like, we're going down a dusty road. I was like, okay. And, there's not much a lot being said that, we pull up, Godspeed, but there's like a little bit of a trailer, you know what I'm saying? Like a little bit of woods. And I was like, okay, this is where, and mind you, there's no cell phones back here. You know what I'm saying? That you had to call like the emergency number and you're lucky if the staff answered. So the guy I forgot the name of the guy, but yeah. And
Hold
so
on, pause for 1 second.
Don't go in the house yet.
Keep that pen out of your fucking hands. Now tell the story. Thank you. I love you. Now go.
Thank you. There's 6 more. So this guy pulls up to his house. He says, no, you're not going to the house yet. Mind you, if you're just doing it in, I'm on the way in an old pickup truck in McAlester, Oklahoma, which has the hugest prison in the world. Like, don't go further than you need to. Don't do this and that. I'm hosted by myself. I get in this old pickup truck, like shaking up and down. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Grasping my merce for my life because I'm like, this is it. I'm like, well, no, but they don't do no screening for the host families either. No screening. Oh, I could tell you host family stories, like the grinder games, but the hosting games. So he pulls up to the house. He goes, no, we're not going to the house yet. He goes, follow me. We walk across a road. And I'm like, now, mind you, this is dusk out. I love that word. Dusk. And like, mind you, the fog's coming in and I'm just like this. And it's kind of getting, that 40 degrees where the dew is still like on the plants. So you're walking through and I'm like, now my shoes are wet. You're taking me to where? And so we go across the road. There's a great big warehouse. And I'm like, oh, this is happening. Like, because there wasn't much conversation between us. All of a sudden, he flips on the lights. I stand there in complete awe. I was like, what is this? There, he's at pottery. He does pottery. I had my ghost moment. He has the most amazing pottery I've ever seen. And he put me there first because he goes, I want you to lose yourself in here. I made, well, you know me, my pot looked like a duck that got ran over twice, but that's not the point. The point was, but just when you thought, you know, because host families, you every week you went home with a new host family. You never knew what was going to happen next, you know? And so, but when he did that, I was like, that opened up like when I was once scared or terrified, because you're like, oh, you don't know. I didn't even know his first name and last name. You know what I mean? And he takes me and we did pottery for about a good 3 or 4 hours. And then put it in the kiln and then he's just amazing. Cooked, I mean, just a cool guy.
So that's one of a myriad experiences that you had with families on tour with Up With People.
Correct. Because you always, they try to change it up. So, because what the concept was bringing international students into like Wyoming, you know what I'm saying? Where they're never going to meet someone from Japan. So you go to Casper, Wyoming, the host family, of course, wants someone from Japan because they put, you know, it just like when I went to Japan, they put you on like to put you on a stool and they're like, sing, dance, act, move. And you're like, I love this for a hot minute. You know what I'm saying? Because you do have your famous moments there when you're there. And then China will get there too. But oh my gosh, I had to dunk down one time, just get my coffee at McDonald's because God forbid until I did. And then I got my coffee. Then I stood up straight and they're like, oh. But yeah. And yes, I know Japanese just a skosh, but I learned one word when I was in China. Ni hao.
That's it.
Ni hao. Yeah, that's 13 flashcards put together for, hi, how are you? 13 flashcards? Excuse me? My room wasn't that big. Come on now. Come on.
Okay,
you know, like, what are you supposed to do, you know? But
okay.
So yeah, Up With People. I'm 22 at this 22. Oh yeah, 22 there.
22.
Yeah, so I was 22. And you do fundraising, like, because it does cost some money to do, but then I got a dance scholarship.
Okay.
I do the merengue and the cha-cha. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So you know me, I whipped out, I sent in some tapes of the VHSs, mind you.
Yes.
In a manila envelope. Up With People. And I got like a nice little scholarship, but then I did like selling hot dogs and I had garage sales and like people donated. Like the people that from Man's Resort, Deb and Brian, if you're listening right now, they sat down for breakfast one day. They said, give us 2 eggs, 2 things of bacon, and here's $500 for your, and I was like, mascared out of my ankles. I collapsed.
Oh, I would have too.
Because $500 back, you know, when we were 19, 20, I mean, that was like a low lottery.
So real quick, so you go, so Up With People lasts for a year of you touring with the show, which it feels so brutal because it's a new time zone and it's a new family. Like, how long would you post in these locations? Was it just a weekend and then you were off?
Well, it got to the point we got to Japan, which was absolutely amazing. We went to 9 different parts. So, you know, Nara and Tokyo and Toyota. And they actually set aside for us. There's 7 days we were there with them. But one day was just a day for us because the family would not leave you alone. Not in a bad or good way. You just need that day. And then you had a family day with them. So whoever you hosted with, like you had 5 days and you did your schedule and you know what I mean? But there was the amazing amount of generosity that was there. I mean, I pointed out a samurai sword in someone's house once. And also it was wrapped up and put in my suitcase for me the next morning. Now, mind you, when I went through customs, also in Japan International Airport, and all of a sudden, nobody's name except Ohio, because I'm really, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden I hear Christopher Plakut, and all of a sudden my manager comes in there, Chris, what'd you do? I'm like, honestly, probably nothing this time, because I couldn't. Also, we walked back there, honestly, God, this was the x-ray machines, like literally showed you what was, like, if you had a bone inside your ribs, you're like, oh, operation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know that's there. All of a sudden I walk in, they're like, what is this? I was like, and here's me, I'm like, that's my samurai sword. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's you know, and it still happens to this day. It still hangs above my, soon to be fireplace. But yeah, so it's just really cool though. You know what I mean? Just, and like I said, we went to Mexico, Canada, and Japan. And so, and these families, they've either hosted before because it's been a 35-year legacy. So, you know what I'm saying? So when Up With People came to town, I mean, it was, there's some good, Up With People's coming to town. Oh, so lock up your daughters? You know, I'm kidding. But the thing is like also, because.
Or your sons.
Because host families, I mean, I stayed with over 50 host families that year, and just all walks of life that take you in. If they give you a peanut butter sandwich and a mattress, you're happy. Otherwise, you're walking to a mansion that has a bowling alley, and you're like, "Excuse me, disculpa me?" Do you know what I'm saying? And I did advance work in Mexico City, folks, the biggest city in the world at that time. And just so you know, they drive with there's no traffic lanes down there. But anyway, Mexico City is amazing. But they usually send someone 2 weeks ahead of the cast to do the advance work. I went 6 weeks ahead of the cast, and I saw Quinceañera. My host family down there, because he was like an alumni from 94 and I was now 2000. I wouldn't have taken that because I was going to miss the Mexico tour, but yet to have that 6 weeks in Mexico City, I was picking lice out of kids, 4-year-old kids, because they have street kids down there that would take a rag, and it's kind of like a rush type thing, was computer cleaner. And they just have their rag, like, you know how a baby would have a blanket? They would just have a little rag. So what we did is we go down, I mean, when I say the heart of Mexico, folks, they're like, they're like, get your eyes darker and don't wear jewelry. Here's me, eyes bluer, hair blonde. I was like, hola, boy, hola, amigos. And so we get down to the heart of Mexico City. There I am, and I'm playing memory with these, but they have to come up to you too. It's kind of like, I want to say, like, but when Dorothy came and the Munchkins kind of like came out like this because they didn't really know, you know what I'm saying, till the feet were hanging, whatever. We still love that musical, but yeah. So that being said, it was crazy. So but when they trust you, they come out and then you'd have to play a quick game of memory with them because we want to keep their motor skills and their brains still working. And then I had gloves on and we're picking lice, literally out of 4-year-old kid. Well, make me think 4, maybe 3. So it's crazy.
That was with Up With People, or you were just doing that on your own?
Yeah, because we did community service in every city we went to. I watched airplanes. I walked around with a blind person all day. We went from her apartment all the way to the grocery store, came back and cooked like Minnesota hot dish. But we cooked it and we had to be blindfolded the whole time too.
Oh, wow.
Whole time too. I had to cheat once. I'm not going to lie. It was too close of a wind. I know what a bus in a car feels like going by you. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, like, that was like, and I was like, sweetie, because the little bandana's got to peek up here because that was our goal for the day. You know what I mean? But that's what people also challenges you to like do things out of your comfort zone. And then I have mad respect for blind people. I mean, people that are just any kind of you just don't realize how much your sight is important to you, or just that every day walking down a little curb, boop. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
So it's cool.
And
I can yeah.
So you got to see all of these places. You could get there ahead of time. You're Up With People. Why did you only do it a year?
I think I would have continued with staff, but at that point, like 130 people from 23 different countries, that's a lot of it's a lot of sticky armpits. It's a lot of you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of
energy.
It gets to be like, and plus, rumor has it that I kind of latched onto a little lad, shall we say, and that's when I backpacked to Europe for 6 months after that. Him and I did.
Oh, okay.
Name we won't mention, not important. But but the thing is, so then we went on, and then after that, so 28 countries we hit in Europe. 18 of those we had a free place to stay because we already just traveled with these people. And guess what? They know how to host. So when we leave, we get a bag lunch and come on in. I mean, I was making blood soup with Grandma Pushka up in Finnish, way up in, actually with the padding, like the blood, you know what I mean? And saunas, and I mean, let's go Europe. We got nothing on you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, take a ride at the Pepsi machine and go here. No, we actually lived at dog sleds. And just crazy, crazy stories. So that's why Up With People to this day, like I said, I'll go for a job interview, like you hear someone up with people, and it doesn't matter. You'll sit there and you'll do the whole song with them, and you do like the crazy sway, and like it's just it's amazing.
So is it still in existence today?
Well, rumor has it it's just called Up With. No, I'm just kidding. No, I should be honest with you. I think it goes 6 months now, and it's twice the amount of money. But the experience you have, like when they say bring cultures in, you're also I've never been to Wyoming, let's just say, and I've never been to Japan. So it's like you're also learning as you go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when we went to Laramie, Wyoming, Matthew Shepard's story. I mean, it was crazy because you actually go where what you think is like it was not Disney World, that's for sure. But you know what I'm saying? Like you see it where it actually happened, and it's just like Laramie, Wyoming is such a powerful, and you got it really touched my heart. I mean, just so many times there, you mask it, like just moments of like, wow, there's unity, there is humanity, there's love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
then I woke up in a karaoke bar in Japan on a guy's lap, and he was singing, let it be, let it be. The last thing I remember is at 10 a.m. doing 22 shots of little sakis. My host guy wakes me up at 7:30 and goes, you come with me. His friend owned those like curtain things you walk in, blah, blah. Well, we do sake, warm, cold. Well, host dad, 90 pounds maybe soaking went on a bad day. You know what I'm saying? We left 7:30 in the morning. So the last thing I remember is 11:30. I wake up in a karaoke bar I'm on the guy's lap and I'm on his lap and I wake up to his elbow and let it be. And I was like, what? And my host mom, she's kind of crying because she didn't know what happened to me. She didn't know if I was dead or alive. And then the guys were like, Chris, you passed out. I was like, I did what? And I was like, but to wake up in there, I just sat on his lap and I was like, this is probably never going to happen again. Serenaded. And in karaoke, you'd only sing with the people you go with.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, everybody, haven't done this one in a while. And there's that whole bar like, hey, Mustang Sally. You know what I'm saying? No, it's you sing with the 8 people you're with. And after 6 songs, you're all set. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you've had it.
Blank Space by Taylor Swift, we're good. You know what I'm saying? So, but
okay.
But no, so yeah, so I mean, endless, and to this day, I can honestly say, we have reunions, and when you go to enough of people reunion, your whole vibe, your energy, it's so crazy. And I mean, no one's ever tell you that. And I mean, but an Up With People person can knock on my door tomorrow, and I don't care if it's your sister's brother's best friend's cousin, girlfriend's sister, she's in.
Well, you and I went to, shout out to Cody. We went to a good friend of ours' wedding in Colorado, and you and I traveled there together, hung out, and then I was like, hey, I'm staying in Denver for a few extra days. I just want to see the city and whatever. And you were like, oh, I've got people in Denver. I'll just stick with you. We'll just stay with them. And I was like, oh, I don't have to get a hotel. You're like, no. They'll totally host us. No problem. And to date, what up, Erin? I still talk
Erin,
to...
I love you.
Yes, I still talk to her. She was amazing from Jump Street. She let me stay with her mom. Like, she didn't know me. I wasn't with up with people. You left and you went back to Minnesota. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just stay in this house with someone who doesn't know me. It was like...
Wasn't that house great, though?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Come on now.
Yeah. But it just, it speaks to what you're saying about how that community is.
But the point is, though, I knew that I was leaving you in good hands, though.
Yes.
I would have never left that situation. I even looked at Erin. She goes, Chris, don't even say what, you don't need to say what's already understood. You know what I'm saying? And I would have never left you in such a, and I see you guys' little comments go back and forth on Facebook that say it warms my heart.
Yeah.
Because that was a connection. You're like, you're not getting a hotel. Come on now. You know, and but that's unity. That's the bonds. And that's, that's how up people are because we've been there. We've done that, And we do a 2-hour Broadway musical everywhere we go. And our show is called The Common Beat.
Okay. And this comes up in job interviews now. That's crazy.
Right. Well, two things that come in my job interviews. I'm from Minnesota. Don't get it twisted. We live through some winters. We're hard workers. You know what I'm saying? And I did up with people. So I've already got like the two angels on this sort of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like I do because they're like, you did help with people because they know the commitment of that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And or they've hosted themselves, So
you do that for a while. Then what gets you to, oh, good, folks, he's got another pen in his hand. It's really great news for everyone.
Sorry.
You weren't kidding. There really are like 7 pens on your desk.
There's 17.
You're doing great. So then get us to, so what made you go to LA then? Were you like, all right, acting's for me. I'm doing it. I'm moving there.
Well, the old sayings, they say you do foolish things for love or, you can't, what if you can't love yourself? You can't love everybody else. Everything happens for a reason. Well, I believe the third part, everything happens for a reason. And the little biscuit that I met, that I backpacked Europe with, that's on the train ride home. Because after 7 months of like living with someone like that intensely, like there's sometimes you didn't get the train or there's sometimes so on the way home, he offered me to move to Hollywood. And I was like, Hollywood. I knew I was going to go Hollywood or New York, but New York doesn't fit my shoes in their closet. So I was like, it's too claustrophobic. Can't. And so then I'm like, jing-ting. But not also, though, I was falling in love. You know what I'm saying?
I'll do it.
They always say, something about an addict. I'm like, well, have you ever been in love? You know what I'm saying? That type of like, Yeah. So tying that in, though. So then I moved to LA when I was 24 years old. Mind you, 9/11 just happened. 9/11 just happened. That whole, here's me 3 weeks later. Oh, I'm going to LA. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't about, I think I just need, but also, I was moving to Los Angeles. This is like, Hollywood sign and things and people, and so thank gosh to this day, though, because that little Biscuits family, I'm still friends and amazing family to this day.
I love that. Okay, so you get out you come out to Hollywood. Now, was the goal to be an actor out here?
It was. I think I call it a creative artist because every time you say an actor, like, how do you do? And that's fine. And sometimes, a student film to me, I've had a better experience on than I would have in a big production. And the thing with me is like, I was always an entertainer, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I'm not entertaining, if I'm not making, and I love to see people laugh. I love seeing people laugh. Like that's always been a thing of mine. And I think even through my tragedy, I turned to comedy. And I think it's just so important. Laughter is life. And I will say that if you can't laugh at yourself, it's going to be a long road, period. And so I got to LA, I was like, ooh, which way do I go? A comic route, this and that, and then student films, and then a few, porn opportunities, and you know what I'm saying? No, but just random things up. My mom, like, don't you dare. She's like, that's one thing you'll be. She always popped in that little bubble.
Yeah, you're like, never.
That's one thing. Don't remember you came from, and say, please and thank you, and don't you dare porn. You're done all this family. Well, just a few fluffers, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, no, it was just crazy though because you realize what actually goes on behind that camera. No one tells you. Yeah, take the trail less traveled, but they don't tell you there's going to be hookers and poison ivy.
Hello.
So it's like.
That's such a great way of saying it.
And that's saying it very because poison ivy lasts a while. Hookers, come on now.
So do their gifts. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so you are in LA. What's your trajectory there, and what made you leave? Like what was going on there?
When I got there, I lived downtown LA. When I say downtown LA, like we're talking like, hey, white boy, que paso? Oh, corn lady. $1 corn de lolota. Remember that with the mayonnaise and the cheese?
Oh, God, it's so good, though.
Coke.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, I miss that so much. For $1.
Then the fruit cup would chase it. Oh. The chili and the lemon and the
I miss that food.
The coconut would just be like, you could like smell it. Like how fresh it,
my mouth is watering right now. God, LA's food. Oh, come on.
God, a Baco bacon truck.
Come
I followed it.
on.
I mean, it's Foxfire. Yeah.
Shout out to that place.
Oh,
God bless
you
America.
got to. You know what I'm saying?
You got to.
We all became a little squirrely in there. But so then I got to LA. I was like, where do I go? And the thing is, LA is such a melting pot.
Yeah.
A, but B, also like the Biscuits family took me into the point where like, hey. So I had a family not there for Easter, Christmas, and they just and to this day, I mean, they flew into Minnesota for my one-man show. Surprised me walking through the door at 1:30 in the morning. I was literally, and I'm joking also, I go, Ricky and Karina? I was like, what? Shout out to the Coolios. I'm sorry if you guys are listening to this. I love you guys so much. And he's one of 8. So like, and to this day, I will walk through the house and go still lay with my mom and papa. I call her mama, I call papa. First time she met me, she goes, that boy's gay, isn't he? And she never said another word since.
Wow.
Never said another word, bam. And because they loved me and accepted me for exactly who I was at 22 years old, moving to Los Angeles, which is huge.
Wow.
So.
Because that was not always your experience. That's lovely.
But but this one had to pay his bills though. So then mommy had to get a job. You're like, oh yeah. And my 6 weeks later, I'm like, okay, so what do we do? You know what I'm saying? Where do we go? So one day on a drunken stupor, we ended up at Universal City Walk. And I was like, well, I got a job at I don't know if people really even know this. I got hired at Gladstone's first. I got hired at Gladstone's, did the whole training, fish shirt, the whole 9 yards, come on. And the Hard Rockers used to come in on Sundays and get absolutely
rip shit hammered. You can cuss.
Literally, like ripped to the tits. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even talking sloppy drunk. We're talking drunk. We're talking dresses over the heads. We'll get there too. God, the Hard Rock.
God bless it.
If you're a Hard Rocker and you're listening right now, to all the Hard Rockers, I dearly love you. Because I grew up there. I mean, I put 10 years in at Universal Studios. And so Gladstone's, they used to come in on Sundays. And I met Bridget's and I met the Nanos and I met the blah blahs and the meow meows. And then slowly but sure, I'm like, and then I meet Carrie, the bartender. Do you remember Carrie?
Yep.
Carrie, yeah. And so Carrie, if you're listening, I love you. But also Carrie, she's like, what are you doing? She's like, why would you be wearing this fish shirt when you should just be totally rocking and rolling? And then I went for my interview and I was going to Vegas that weekend and the manager said, I have 85 people that want this job and one person's going to get it. And I go, okay. So he goes, well, you go to Vegas and come back and then we'll see. So I got back from Vegas and he called me. He's like, you got the position. And that's when my Hard Rock career started.
Wow. So,
and I wasn't even joking. Like when I say 85 people, I was like, it's one thing that you really want because it's just like the collectiveness. Like Hard Rock, I can honestly say they pay you to be yourself. Mm-hmm. They pay you 100% to be yourself. I mean, it didn't matter what was dripping from you, what was going on. As long as you did your job, they respected that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
it's one of the most competitive jobs I didn't realize it at the time, but shout out to Elle. He walked my resume back. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten the job because I didn't realize until I was working there. Like we were getting 50 resumes a day of people that were just hoping to get a job.
Well, when I hired there, you're a little intimidated because the last person that got hired was 5 years ago. You're like,
right.
What's going on here? Like, what are we drinking the juice here? Like, is the honeymoon over? Like, what are you waiting for that? So then you get it. And you're so busy. Like, I was like, one of my trainers, I remember her literally taking me behind the back. And she goes, you're going to have to start moving faster. I was like, I think we all know who that is. But anyway, so that, and spanking the asses. Let me tell you what, I mean, you got to grab. It wasn't just a little smooth on the boots. I mean, we had customers that would say, hey, the food was great. Love the tortillas. But what's up with that slapping of the asses? I'm like, and we're all like, because if you walk by and you didn't do it, you had to go back and redo it. Ooh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you work at Hard Rock, and then you're kind of making headway in LA. And then what got you out of? Because we'll get into the job specific stuff in the next section. So hop us up to what made you leave LA? Like what got you into dinosaurs? What's all that about?
Well, to be 100% honest with you, I left LA in a body bag.
That's right.
So, and that's going to sum up a lot of what when you say body bag, yes, folks, that was a body bag because the thing with me is also. As a creative artist, you know how to cheat things and you know how to do things that are just like exceptionally normal because you don't answer a telephone on the stage shaking, so you learn how to, to get that. So I was a social drinker to the age 9. We're going to start there too. I'm 100% Polish and I'm proud of it. I would say, have you had Polish sausage lately? But it was one of those things of being raised with that. I mean, what we're going to drink, what we're going to eat and who's coming. Mm-hmm. That's why I was raised. And to this day, Kate Gaffney, you could show up at my parents' house and they would totally take you in, But yeah, Chris had a little bit of a hidden agenda, you know what I'm saying? And so one drink became 60 and 60 became, you know what I mean? I took Captain Morgan to my senior year prom with me, the handle. I buckled up in the front seat my senior year, but we're all joking and hey, ba, 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 beep, 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 you know? Mm-hmm. And remember, in Minnesota, they don't consider alcohol a drug. So, you know what I'm saying? So when I got into a few little, let's just say sniffles and snaffles along the way, because one thing with me, I have an addictive personality. I'll try everything once. I do repeat, I try everything once. The only thing I did not like is raw onion. Period. So I was like, God, people would be like, Chris, did you listen? Anal flaps. I will try everything once. The only thing I didn't like is raw onion. So have you ever, do you want me to repeat that again? If you have to answer already in the past, let's go. And are you talk fast? Yes. If you tell me 3 times in one night that I talk fast, we can't be friends.
Yeah, tough. So tough titties.
That's a little more dramatic, but just take off your pants. We'll go from there. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. So,
but wait, so you had some addiction stuff to address.
Well, here's the deal. My name's Christopher Plakut, and I'm an addict alcoholic. That will never change. I say my one thing. I go, it doesn't get easier with time. Time gets easier with it. But I was a functioning alcoholic. People didn't know that I was working 3 jobs and going on auditions and keeping afloat. And if you saw me on Tuesday, I looked just as good as on Thursday because I didn't get hungover. I hung on.
Yeah, you did.
And that was a big thing for me. And I mean, we're talking, folks, I mean, a 17-month coma, which we'll get there too. But I mean, yeah, so you asked me why I left LA because I did live in a body bag. I technically flatlined in California and I flatlined in Arizona. And that's when I went home to die from Arizona to Minnesota. And my family flew in. I was completely yellow. I was, lost all my cognitive. I was going into a pool and I couldn't tell my arms to swim. And that's when I knew things were wrong. And I lost all my hair. I dropped 70 pounds. They drained 10 liters off me every Thursday for 7 months. I don't know if anyone knows what paracentesis is. It's a needle about the size of your small schmerm. You know what I'm saying? But it's long. And they drain you. And they took 10 liters off me every Thursday for 7 months. Each liter is 2 pounds.
Wow.
Each liter. So 2 liters. I speak at meetings. People, my mommy and daddy couldn't pay for college, white boy. And I'll tell my story. And the old man with the big overalls comes up. You know what I mean? That on the walker going, that was quite a story. I'm blessed. I'm seriously lucky because, you get that nurse in the room, I've been a nurse for 38 years. I've only known 9 people to ever get up to 9 paracentesis without making it. I had 28 of them done. So, and they drained the 10 liters. Anyway, so, yeah, I was lucky. I mean, I was really, but once again, to your question, I love California, but I was forced to. And not by my own actions. No one poured a drink down my throat. That's one thing with me. I always it took me to realize that it was me, and I don't blame anyone to this day. That's another thing about life. We have a rule in my family. It's over 2 years ago, you don't bring it up, period. You know what I mean? Because you're not better than anybody. Because my mom will start with a story when I was 5, and she just doesn't stop until the next Christmas. You know what I'm saying? But not good or bad. Just, you know what I mean? Like, here we go again.
Here we go again.
So we made a rule that and guess what? I've been great the last 2 years. Just saying.
Take that fucking pen out of your hands, Christopher Plakut. My God.
Sorry.
You go. Because I love this story and I want this to be heard. There. Yes. Okay. Keep just fucking with there you go. Fuck with your chapstick. But anyway, so your family, you were saying, so if it happened more than 2 years ago, we're not talking about it. And I called
my parents and I said, I looked at my friend Captain Morgan. I love you. I looked at her and said, don't call my parents until I'm done being yellow. My mom said by the time she saw me in Arizona, I was so yellow, I was green. Yeah. And I just remember my mom coming through those doors and I literally was like, to see your mom in such a situation, like, I mean, it's a humbling experience to get picked out of a bathtub with your parents at 35 years old. And that was a night because I could not physically. And let me tell you what, when I make it kudos big or whatever I'm going to do in life, I'm going to put a silver bar. You know, silver bars, those ones that come next to the bathroom in every toilet across America. Because if that toilet didn't have one, it was a long haul. Because I used to grab the silver bar and go, 1, 2. And that was right. But if it didn't have one, sometimes I land on the floor. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to put it, that's my goal is to put a silver bar. And I don't care if it's a dive bar. I don't care if it's a creamery. I don't care if it's inside of a church. I want that silver bar there because those people, and guess what, folks? If you don't have your health, you've got nothing. You've got nothing. And it was a hard awakening, but I'm lucky to come back. Well, people say you chose life, Chris. Because a lot of times with addiction, it's either life or death. And I chose life. And but also with the amazing strength behind me, the wind beneath my wings. So we went from Arizona they drained me. They put me back in my car. And when I got to Minnesota, my blood pressure was 77 over 52. They said, take him in where the ambulance comes out of. Take him in. And so a doctor from the Mayo Clinic, which is Dr. Plakut, I take a knee every time he walks in. He's like, Chris, get off the floor. I'm like, seriously, you saved my life. 7 doctors voted. 7 doctors. 6 voted yes for liver transplant. 1 said no. He goes, this kid will make it. Because of a picture that I took and my teeth are like this. And I go, well, at least my teeth are still white. And he goes, and that's why he'll make it. Wow. Because it was an option. I didn't, and not to get graphic, but like there's so much ammonia in my brain that I had to make many deposits up to 5 to 7 a day just to get that much ammonia out. And so, and then they said I wasn't going to be able to do this, wasn't going to go do that. 17 months later, I got walked out of my coma type, and the doctor goes, because I could put up my hands and they wouldn't shake like a leaf. My dad said I sound like a bell ringer holding a cup of tea, outside the Macy's, because that's how bad the spoon would shake in the cup, because that's how bad my shakes were. And the doctor's like, you will not drive until you can put your hands up like this and they don't shake. And you know what the crazy thing was? I'm not trying to get all like, but there was a hand on me. There was a hand on my right shoulder. It was just a little bit of pressure. It was just a little bit of pressure. And the second he said I could drive, that hand, I even told my mom, when I was like, Mom, the hand's here. And she's like, oh, okay, great. Because I guess one day I talk in a British accent, the next day I talk drunk, the next day, because no one could actually understand me. We had to name my cane, because I had a walking cane, because I couldn't walk until I learned how to walk. Alice. Alice, who the is Alice? But that's look for Alice. Everyone knew to look for my cane, because if I was like, cane, they weren't understanding that. And my family, it was a big shock for them too, because it's not about, like I said, no one poured a drink down my thing, but this is a huge awakening. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I came out of what I call, well, people say a miracle, you know what I mean? And then I had to get my belly button popped back in. My right groin was the size of the biggest mango you've ever seen, just because of liquid. Yeah.
You showed it to me. It was big.
Right. Oh, that's right. Oh. As one time I peed in the tub, and I'm like, Mom, look, the yellow's coming off. Because I was that yellow, but my mom's like, and she, bless my parents too. I mean, they've been nothing. I mean, my parents are nothing but angels, but it took us a long way to get there, and so, and then you wake up and you're like, I'm sober. Hello, you're like a sober, like sobriety. Like, well, that was an option. Like, that's kind of my what? Mm-hmm. That's all I knew. And what am I doing at Christmas? A concert? What? But then these last 8 years, I'll be sober. May 26th. I'll be sober 8 years off alcohol.
I'm so proud of you.
It gives me goosebumps because
it should.
Someone looked at me. My little biscuit looked at me and said, "I wouldn't even taking you back until you had 2 years of sobriety." Bitch, please. I got 8 coming up in 2 weeks, and yeah, I was alone for New Year's. I won the Diamond Award. Get that man a shot. My first everything. But I cannot explain, you guys, to be so present in a moment that I wasn't there for. I'd be in a room for 3 hours and was there for 13 minutes. And now I'm in a room for 3 hours and I invested the whole 2 hours in, well, maybe 48 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because 13 minutes, someone's looking good in the room or something's happening. But no, it is amazing. It's actually, it is crazy. And in 8 years that I mean, I always say when you shake hands with the devil and kiss God and come back again, you have a whole nother respect for life. Mm. And I chose life and I stopped expecting. I really stopped expecting. Because the second you stop those expectations, guess what? Wear those shoes. Take that girl out. Ask him out. Do this. Ride that car. Don't say stuff to people. Do things. Be you. Like, I can't express that enough because people wait. For what? And guess what? Once I can repeat, once you even don't have your health, folks, everything else, I mean, my mom and dad had to help me out of the bathtub. You know what I'm saying? But also that, I will never, I think in my mind, this will never happen again. This will never happen again. And I just, and there's been time, but I mean, and I made a pact with whatever higher power you believe in. I just said, listen, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And that was just so, and yeah, do I think about drinks every now and then? A glass of red wine? Absolutely. But you know what? There's so much, life is so much, I always go to like this analogy of holding the signs. The person says, hey, I need a drink. I give him that $5 because he's honest. But you know that we're all holding signs, whether they're visible or not? You guys, everyone's holding a sign walking by you, but we're all so selfish and we don't give a shit. But just because it's not visible, saying, I need a drink, because guess what? There's sometimes that I need a drink. You know what I'm saying? And I was honest. And that's when people are honest, like, there's a truth to that. And addiction's real, folks. Like, I know people say, oh, blah, blah, blah. No. I had addictive personality since I was very young, and it's something that I had to deal with. It just wasn't alcohol. It was, friends. It was songs. I mean, Taylor Swift playing Space, I cannot do that to this day because I played it 3 million times. I sold it for my 9-year-old niece. You know what I mean? Because I just liked it. I mean, and then it's Taylor Swift and those lyrics that hurried. Get out of here. She's been through 14 divorces and has like a Stevie Nicks, but yet she's 12. Anyway, it just, but yeah, so one day at a time. And I will honor you with that, Kate, because the first time you wrote it, I was like, O-D-A-T. I thought it was like from Garfield, like O-D. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I seriously didn't know what, I was like, because nowadays with the kids abbreviation, sometimes I still got to Google, like, shaking my own head. I still don't get that one. But anyway, it looks like McDonald's gone wrong. But so I was just like, what's going on here? But then all of a sudden, but Kate, you were the first one that was so, you can tell who people, I put you this way, you can tell when people have been affected with their own life or they've been through it. And when I had someone call me and said, if Chris Plakut can get sober, I can get sober. I pulled on the side of the freeway. 2 years sober, he called me that day. He worked at the Hard Rock Cafe, actually. I will say that much. And it was not in Minnesota. It was in LA. And he pulled over and he goes, I cried. I pulled over. I was like, Schmerm. What? I was like, he found my number out of the blue but he wanted to make that 2 years first. And I was like, because he said to himself, he goes, if Chris Plakut can get sober, anybody can. And I've had those people come up to me, hey, my cousin, my sister, listen, it doesn't matter who you're talking about. I'm glad that you're talking. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you're talking because through addiction, I've also lost a lot of fun people, you know, and and the thing is, I have zero regrets because, you know, no day but today, you know what I mean? Like, or get rent.
Oh, come on.
Anyway, that's a whole other side show. Jonathan Larson, you are amazing for that, but also it's relatable.
Yeah.
That shit happens. You circle one of us. I mean, especially like the Hard Rock crew, like the web, I mean, just, yeah. And,
yeah,
that was, I didn't know how to deal with that much pain at one point because I just didn't, like, the psychologist like, yes, you're not going to recognize yourself. You're going to be, I was like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah. So I went even back to Theater Stronger because I was like, this is my comeback. This is Stefano's coming back from the grave. You know what I'm saying? Like Days of Our Life shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. And not that I had to prove to anyone anymore anything but myself.
Yeah.
Because also I came out as a human being. I believe, I believe tattooed on my left arm. And the L is in red. Stands for love, laughter, and life. Because when no one else did, I started to. So, and that's what I believe. But yeah. And then that led me to my one-man show called Liver It Up. Believe it or not, I am. What I crawled out of my own body bag, folks, to apple bottom jeans.
That's true, actually. That's actually true. You came out of a body bag.
Literally calling out. I was out of breath.
That really happened.
Literally. A big mac of DLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese, a firefish hamburger, you know what I mean? And then I turned on Beauty and the Beast song, you know, Little Falls, it's a small-minded gay village, you know what I mean? Like every day, like the one before, you know, and then did you hear Chris Plakut might be a queer? And mind you, I had platforms on, socks up to my knees, a hospital gown, and my hair tied like Aunt Jemima and glitter dripping at the whole entire show. I mean, I put enough glitter on for 68 pounds of that show to go through. Fringe Festival. Are you familiar with the Fringe Festival? My ball was the second ball that got picked.
That's amazing.
They would take so many shows, you know, how, if you either know or you don't. If you know, you know. But, and it's also very intimidating too, because who's the director? You. So I wrote, produced, and started my own show, Chris Starford. I'm in my own show. And that was, for me, I didn't care if the show flopped because that was my therapy.
Yeah.
That was me letting go. That was my mom and I meeting eyes in the audience for the first time because she's like, this is my son. She never knew that side of me. She never knew. And I said, Mom, you got to get on that bandwagon or you're going to miss out. You know? Mm-hmm. And I just, and she didn't come the second time of Liver, which, okay, cool. But because my dad's like, Dad, where's Mom? She's like, because my mom lived it. You know, it's different when my mom flew into Arizona to see, I had 4 days left to live. You know, that people came in, I went in the white room at the whole 9 yards. So when I lived, you know, here's me, I'm like, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
Resurrected.
And my mom's like, I knew God wasn't done punishing me yet. I just knew it. You know what I'm saying? You're like, Teresa.
Stop it.
We always give her shit about that. She's like, I knew God wasn't punishing me. I was like, death becomes her. I was like, what? And you know me. So Chris Plakut really never changed throughout his whole entire venture. The only thing is, I believe, you know, I get those phone calls about sobriety and people and things, and you know what I mean? That's amazing. You wouldn't have to call me and tell me that. Or, you know, and the people that can quit on their own, good for you. And people don't wait for tragedies to happen because, you know what? I did wait for a tragedy and I almost didn't have this last 8 years, you know? Yeah. So, and all the drugs I've done a lot of drugs in my life. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Pink Floyd, the whole night, you know, whatever. But the thing is, alcohol is the only one that will physically bring you to your knees. Physically. Like when I say, I mean, shakes and that, you know, and I've done let's just say I've done a buffet. You know what I'm saying? Not a Shoney's buffet, not a Golden Corral. just a little this and that. But yeah. But now here we are. So 8 years on May 26th, which is absolutely insane because I think about the Diamond Award winning, and I got a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Hard Rock. I went and taught English in China for a year.
Since you got sober, right? All of that happened once you got sober.
I would have never done it unless I got sober because the bottle came first. The bottle, it wasn't a decision. It was my everyday walking in, sliding $13 across that counter, not even saying the word to the man and drinking that, not even the pint, the bigger, and that was my daily intake. And that was including the 4 bars I hit on the way home. So
honest. And
I still have bartenders call me to this day, just checking in on me because there was a net there that I didn't know. And let's face it, Plakut is the party. Do you know what I'm saying? So
You
when
are.
Plakut got there, I mean, if you were at like an 8, you turned it up to about 13 in about 6 seconds because shot. I mean, and it wasn't like I meant to attract. Well, I'm a nut magnet anyway. But that being said, it's just a can of mixed nuts. But I would have drinks. I would take someone that was sober, someone drive my car, designated driver, just so she could hold on to 2 drinks during open bar. So I'd have 4 drinks in one supermarket sweep. You know, that type of psychology.
Yeah.
So, no, there's one time to this day that Nicole Smith, I love you to death. I pulled in because I got to Minneapolis finally. I was out of my small town because, you know, people in my small, every time you see someone, they go like, Chris, how are you? You know, oh, are you sure it's more than just alcohol there, Teresa? You know, Teresa Bob's son, you know, he's yellow. And people, I know you saw Philadelphia in 1983. God bless that whole movie and everything about it. But like, just because I'm yellow does not mean, oh, it looks like he's flooded with pee. I mean, I heard it all. You know what I'm saying? Just like when I bought my little biscuit home. Oh, you bought him for an exchange student? No, bitch. He was my roommate for 10 years in a 1-bedroom with 1 bed. Drop the mic. Anyway, back to where we started. So, yeah. And one day I did pull into the lot and I sat in the parking lot and I thought, nobody knows me. And I got my ID ready and I was so nervous. I was like, do I go in the bar first? Do I ask for a drink first? Should I go pee? And I sat in the bar parking lot and Nicole Smith, to my other half to this day, she called me out of the blue. We just met twice at the Hard Rock. And she called me that day and she goes, what are you doing? I said, I just lost her down there. I said, Nicole, I said, I'm about to, she goes, you put that car in drive and you come immediately. She delivered about 40 minutes out. And to this day, when because I don't know if she wouldn't have called at that moment because I was having a moment of me and a selfish moment again, you know? And and I'm glad because that could have changed everything too. But you're going to get all my family and friends drink. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I just knew that I knew. And when you see your old patterns come out, your old behaviors, the 2-time Tims and the, you know, and the weeping at the bars and that kind of stuff, it just, yeah.
Yeah. Well, relapse.
But I go to the bar. I still go to, you know, but listen, when mama drives, she heads out when she's done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hello. She'll
play Houdini fast. You can say, because I lived 21 years in a bar. I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Relapse is part of recovery too, though, you know, so there's no shame if that is part of your journey.
None. And I just, you know, shout out to all the addicts, addicts, alcoholics, whatever category you want to put you in, because it's like the LGBT, like whatever you fit or whatever you mold, I'm praying for you. I really am, because the strength, it takes a lot. And so, and you know, hug an addict when you see him, please, because that, you never know if that person or how, you know, it's such a guilt and a shame and a shallowness that you go to that you're just, and the thing is, you're not alone. People, you are not alone. You're not alone. You're not the, you know what I mean? I thought sitting at home on New Year's when the clock struck 12 I had the best New Year's of my life. And but because you're not alone, folks, you're not alone. Trust me. When I say you're not alone, and I don't care what your issue is, it doesn't have to be the gay issue. It doesn't have to be drugs. Everyone has a vice. And I'm going to break that down. If they don't, you're lying. I don't care if it's collecting Barbies. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has a vice to hold on to. And I think Peaches and Cream Barbie, remember her with the, but anyway, I just think it's amazing that those signs, what I was talking about earlier, the signs that you hold on to. I went by a lady in the chip aisle in Walmart. We walked by each other. I don't forget a face. I'll forget your name in a second, but I will not forget a face. And also we walked by each other, the energy just shifted. Because all of a sudden, like, I was there, I was focused. Long story short, we started talking about Lay's potato chips and the new flavors and blah, blah, 2 for $6. And all of a sudden, her brother just died at 52 years old of liver disease. And so we sat there holding a bag of barbecue chips between our tits, you know what I mean? Like, and literally hugging each other because we're like, in the middle of Walmart, and there's like a moment because she needed that, you know? And guys, and then she's just a lady walking by me in Walmart. We walk by these people every day, you guys. Every single day we walk by. Just because they're not holding a sign, folks, doesn't mean there's not one there. So, and I can't express that enough because I just think there's a lot of look down on addicts, and folks. Some people just can't control it.
Yeah.
And some, you know, and like I said, I've lost a lot of good people, you know, to drugs and people, you know. But I've had amazing support and amazing. I mean, you don't believe in power of prayer, folks?
Yeah.
It works. So.
I'm trying to
so May 26th.
I'm trying to get it together.
Which is right around the corner, actually.
Yeah,
wow.
It is. You got it. That'll be in 2 weeks from today. I have to get it together. I'm going to take a break.
No, honey, I know. Think about you. You're so amazing because, like, even the ODT, is that from Garfield? You know, you're always so supportive because you can tell the people that have lived it, done it, been there, you know, some kind of like circle of it, because there's triggers, there's life, there's things that throw at you, but guess what? There's so much more to do than just, you know, but like I said, I was lucky because all those times of driving drunk on the 405, loaded. Yeah. I mean, folks, 8 years, I wouldn't go 8 seconds without a drink. I used to order drinks at the Hard Rock patio. comp one off and pay for the other one. There was no one at 83. I don't know if you ever knew that. Hard dog. Anyway, they're closed now anyway, bitches. So I don't care. I sort of saw something. It's 3 drinks. I comped 2 because they didn't like the flavor. There was nobody even on the patio. And I go in that little cubby hole. Remember the ketchups and mustard thing?
Yeah.
And I sit there and just slam. Wow. And then I would do my round robin, which we won't talk about the bars after that. But I had a system, and it worked until I thought that and then my bilirubin inside my liver, anything over 30 is considered dead. Mine was at 47 when I checked into the hospital. And now, folks, it's at 0.08. You're all going home with one. No, but I'm very thankful for that because I damaged the one organ that actually, because when I went in for my last 3 surgeries, the doctor's like, Chris, are you sure? Because somehow a seed ended up in the bottom of my schmerm. My right testicle was this, and my belly button popped. I go, do all 3 right now. And he did all, cause they couldn't do it until my body got stronger, and then I had to start putting on some weight. And then, 10 liters, you guys, is a lot of liquid in the middle of August in the summertime.
Well, look, it's such an insidious, secretive thing because you and I would get up and work out together at 7 a.m, 3 days a week. It was just, I had anyway, it's not about me, but and
the thing is, Kate, I was that was the start of the fall actually, because I was going to college, folks. And the bar that I knew would open up at 5:30 a.m. 5 if you knew the right bump. You know what I'm saying? My car's still named after her to this day. I love you, Goldie. I don't give a shit because the wig on backwards, sometimes not a wig. Anyway, but yet then I met a whole other net of family. You know what I'm saying? So it's who's this gay walking in a bar? Geez, why do we blah blah? And yet I was hugging. You can go in there and name every bar stool because it came like a family net, but also that family net we weren't supporting each other in the way that we should have been. Yeah. But should they have been? Because so I got my college loans. And guess what Chris did? Paid off his bar tabs, or just crazy. But yeah, when we go to those workouts with Colt or whatever, the couple times I threw up.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. Yeah.
But it was, and then we go out. I believe, when they say that we're functioning, I was beyond functioning. I graduated from college, but you don't have to have the paper bag and no teeth just to say that you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So, which I think a lot of times, that's what it boils down to. But yeah. So I always say at my 10-year sobriety, we're all going to get drunk. Kidding. We made it this far. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. A little Shiraz for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. I even smell it. Sometimes it is kind of a turn on. I'm not going to lie when it's on a guy's breath or something like that because it's Jack Daniels. One guy's like, you're going to bite my tongue off. And I was like, well, it's been a while. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like that, but you know what I mean? I'm like, Captain Morgan. Because as an alcoholic, I can walk in a room and I'll know what everyone has in their hand. Here's got Coronas over there, Windsor's over there. Okay, free bars over there. And I'm lucky, I'm blessed that I can go into a bar and not freak out, or I can go to an event that has beer and wine and I don't, some of my friends can't.
Yeah.
So, and I call them friends for a reason because it's supporting each other. Just support each other, folks. Whether you got an addiction or not, you don't think you do or you do, talk. Because like I said, you're not alone, folks. You are not alone. Coming from a small town Midwest, trust me, I walked what I thought roads alone. Shit. There's 100 angels beneath my wings at that point.
That's right. That
I didn't even know about till later years, and that kind of stuff. So, and a lady came up to me at the grocery store. She goes, "Are you Chris Plakut?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "You wouldn't believe what the power of prayer can do for you." She goes, "You were across the boards in so many churches, so many." I didn't know her from Adam or Eve. She poof, like a puff of smoke. She walked away, and I was like, and because I have moments too. I was in a hot tub in Great Wolf Lodge in Brainerd, Minnesota, and I just started bawling because I was like, just the factor of I'm alive. You know what I mean? I don't know, but it's and I don't play a victim about it. I'm like, oh no, it was me, but you know what I mean? And I'll be like, well, the alcoholic, no one asked me. You know what I'm saying? But that's me being me. I'm like, wow, no. Because my mom asked me the other day, she's like, do you mind if we have a couple of drinks during Thanksgiving? I go, now you're going to ask? 7.5 years later? Now you're going to ask? I'm like, you know what I mean? As I'm in a hayride during Christmas and they're handing around hot sex and, homemade wine. I didn't get it, But, but you also know when enough's enough. I wanted more for myself. And in that glass case, that glass where everyone is in this glass, menagerie, whatever, when that breaks and everyone comes down the same level, don't walk in front of me, don't walk behind me, walk with me. You know what? And if you don't like it, guess what? Because at the end of the day, it boils down to your happiness and what you're going to boil down to. And you know what? You go home to you. Even if you have a partner or not, when you had a partner for 12 years, there's times I felt more alone just because I was not connected with me, and now, I love myself. I really do. You know what I mean? And I'm funny. You know what I'm saying?
You're hilarious.
You believe something enough, you do, maybe not in this little segment right here, like Oprah Winfrey, you know what I'm saying? Dr. Oz here. But the point is, though, I think addiction, though, I'm glad that you mentioned it because I'm so proud of it.
You should be.
I'm so proud of it. And I will keep it. I'm not an A person. And no, I didn't start drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes because of it. I don't like that level of heaviness it contains. And I felt like every Tuesday or Wednesday we're like, oh my gosh, and it gets so heavy at 8:30 in the morning. You're just like, they didn't leave you out better off than what they found you. I feel sometimes, and I know it works for some people. It just wasn't for me. So, and I'll talk at meetings. I still do because I think it's important. If you hit that one person in the room, you'd be surprised who that one person is that comes up to you at the end and says, "Holy sweet Mother of God," or it comes up to me and says, "I'm 6 months older," because you're family members, just good friends, just good people. Good people. And I love people. Like you can come up to me. I'm open 24/7. That's why I say just like the holiday gas station. You know what I'm saying? 24. There's no locks on these doors. Because I do this, I've learned that it's also about listening, Chris. My best friend told me, Chris, two things. Not always about you, and you say too much. I grabbed my pearls 3 times. I was like, what? That's the advice 7 years ago. The best advice I ever got. She goes, Chris, it's not always about you. I mean, we all can't be princess. Someone has to clap when I walk by type shit. You know what I'm saying? But also, then I was like, what? And then she goes, Chris, you say too much. If you call in sick to work, just say you call in sick. Chris, before you know it, you fell on an aisle in Walmart because you were trying to get a car that the old people had to come get you. And yes, it was fabricated, but I think in my mind, I had to believe you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she's like, if you call in sick, you're just sick. You don't have to go into this whole... And I was like, she's wearing a neck brace to go visit the jail. Anyway, but yeah. So... But yeah, shout out to all the addicts and alcoholics out there. It's a journey. It's a step. And when I say one day at a time, folks, and remember, in your darkest hour, it only lasts an hour. I think that needs to be, in your darkest hour, it only lasts an hour. And I can't express that enough because I think there's a dark hour. There's going to be many dark hours, but it's just how you handle it. And it's all about, you have to have a strong mind in this world. Yeah, and I'm not just saying that you have a weak mind, it will override you. If you have a strong mind, I believe, and acts have strong minds. Because at one point you can talk yourself into something so in a split second and be loaded in seconds, Or you can go to Walmart and get drunk right now.
That's right.
If you're over 21. So it's like, people don't realize that, and then you live in a state where you went to treatment for meth, 25 years ago. Have a glass of champagne, we're celebrating. Because drinking wasn't a problem that they knew of. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I said, my family, it's a very cultural thing. I just didn't let anyone know, the whole, and also I was masking a lot though too and hiding. And I thought it was, when the priest called me a thespian, I thought he called me a lesbian. And I was like, ooh. And I was like, oh my God, he knows it. My mom's like, he called you a thespian. I didn't know what a thespian was. I'm young. I was like, he knows a lesbian? What? So I literally no one to turn to say, hey, how does this work? Hey, what's going on? Are you? No, you know what I mean? Even though I always grew up comfortable with who I was and what I was. And so anyway, but yeah. So it's amazing to be sober. And like I said, one day at a time. I can't say I'm 8 years yet because what if I have a drink tomorrow? On the other hand, though, I can tell you I won't have a drink tomorrow. That's amazing. In fact, I'll encourage, I open beers for people. But that's my story. That's my struggle. That's my journey. But I just know that people, you're not alone and always leave people better off than what you found them. Whether it's a bad day, a good day, you just want to rip someone's face off or a slit to the clit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Stuff you with cat litter. The point is, though, you do need to recognize, leave people better off than what you found them. Because if they're already at a level, and guess what, people? Everyone you meet knows something you don't. Everyone you meet, and if that's something, it's something of anger or if it's something kind of like, I hate the word hate because it's just stupid, but it's something, but everyone you meet knows something you don't. So maybe figure out that thing about them. Even if it's a so-called, I don't want to say enemy either, just, it's something that if it's different, but they know something you don't, And I think that's so important to figure out that one thing that you don't. And after that, as long as you're good to self and good to others, I don't care what you do. I really don't. Even if you do, I would say, even if you do goats, I got your back. I'm kidding, folks. BCL has a whole other story. I'm not into that. Anyway, but yes.
Not this podcast. Not this podcast. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, I was like,
keep
what?
moving.
Yeah. Back to track here.
Well, today, so you're touring the country, you're working with the dinos, and you are, what state are you residing in now? I know you're in.
As I'm getting younger, because when people say I'm getting old, they sound old. And they do that like smushed up face. Like, when someone takes a drink of a soda too and their eyes get bigger, they get that I'm getting so old, blah, blah. If you just say I'm getting younger, you even sound younger. You know what I'm saying? So I say, as I'm getting younger, I didn't think I was going to get on a tour again. Mama had a run. Your leg was starting to limp. You know what I'm saying? They say everything after 40. I know what you think, I'm like 28. But the thing is, anything after 40 starts falling apart. And there's kind of truth to that, actually. Truth. It doesn't mean truth.
Truth.
Because when I get my Minnesota, oh, yeah, the toast, the Coke. Yeah, my mom, who would like a glass of Coke? Oh, yeah, there, Margie. Christopher Plakut's home. Good to see you there. Oh, how the heck are you? I die. Because I was like, we don't have an accent. until I was in theater school in LA. Are you from Canada? That's a compliment. Thank you so much, because I love my Canadians. I said, no, I'm not. Like, if we hear you, one more time, we're going to drop you a letter grade. I had 3 tries in a fucking 4-page monologue. In the Glass Menagerie. Who chose that as a partner? We're not going to go down the road right now. But anyway, I was the worst at whatever that main character was. To this day, the Glass Menagerie comes on, I'm like, I just want to smash glass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to go nuts and be like, first of all, because whoever chose me to be Tommy or Billy or Poopsie or Topsy, the straight man. Like, Chris, can you be straight? Absolutely. Straight to your bedroom. Yeah.
Okay. So where are you now?
So where am I now?
Yeah.
I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
So if Dinosaur Adventure, here's the deal with that. So I go on dinosaurs in Minnesota, a pinnacle production. I mean, there's $4.3 million in a warehouse where? So this is when I go out to, I've still went out to an old Jimmy John's, you know, like the J's hanging, so it's like Jimmy Conn's or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I walk in, I'm like, hello. And like, you know how Belle, when she walked in and she's like, Papa. And she moved that big door open, you know what I'm saying? You're like,
yeah.
And she's like, Papa. You know, all of a sudden you're like, I'm like, this is where I'm going to get clunked over the head. Because I'm like, dinosaurs really. And I was going for lead entertainment at that point, which was supposed to be 2 people. I was supposed to get a Kelly Ripa to my, Ryan Seacrest. I don't respect Ryan Seacrest, so let's go Kelly Ripa to whatever that guy was before him. But anyway,
Regis.
Not the Me Too revelation. But anyway, speaking of that, that's why Meryl Streep did not go to him at the red carpet because of the Me Too thing, because he did not get fired.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Oh, Meryl Streep. I will tell you what slippers she wore last night to bed. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 people I need to meet in my life, Meryl Streep and Dolly Parton, before I go.
Oh, facts. Also,
I have to. Yeah.
Before you finish, take a sip of water. Yeah. You need some water. Have some water. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee.
Coffee at this time? Listen to me.
Don't judge me.
And when did I become that person? Coffee at this time?
Okay, go ahead. So you just did. You jackass. Okay, so go ahead. So you are in Greensboro, North Carolina with the Dino Show.
Yeah, so I did. This is my 30th city, actually, with the tour.
Okay, how did COVID affect you guys? You just went outside, right?
Here's the deal with COVID, folks. I think it was, you realize it was real. Not saying it wasn't, but, I'll use the word strange. When I came home from Denver, everything was just strange. It wasn't weird. What's weird? Normal. What's normal? Everything was just strange. When I say strange, God bless, opposite track. So my little roommate, she had the 68 rolls of toilet paper in the basement. I was like, we need to chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's the type that thing came on and she would jump up and be like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? So I'm not like that. Here's me. Let things happen first. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If I have to do a stomp a waff in the shower, I will, because there's no more toilet paper. Ask me what a waffle stomp is later. We'll get there. But anyway,
no.
You don't have toilet paper and you got to,
We're not getting there.
We've all been there. Good old Camp Kakanui. By the way, how does a Cub Scout become a Boy Scout?
How?
He eats a brownie.
Oh my God. Keep going.
It's simple and innocent.
No, it's not. Stop it, Chris.
But what if you're not even, okay, anyway.
Keep going.
So currently I got the job. My Kelly Ripa and my Ryan Seacrest, she lasted 1 day. She went back to Texas. And I love that my producer came up to me. He's like, we always knew it was going to be a one-man show. I came out, 75 people are standing in front of me. I have 3 babies to go through. When I say arm babies, you guys, we don't mention the P-word puppet because, they're people too. I always say it's like Toy Story. We all got Andy at the bottom of our foot. I don't care what anyone says. When that door shuts, I mean, freaking Cherry the chair from Pee-wee's Playhouse goes nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Hello.
Like, we all love Cherry. But it's when Andy closes the door. That's when shit comes real. And so, and I'm a character actor. I've always have been. Like, when you put that, they always say, when Chris puts that baby on his arm, I'm 110%. And I love kids and I love pets when they're not my own. Because if you can't wipe your own ass, you're not allowed in my house. Period.
Okay.
Last. Now the kids are saying now big facts,
big
whatever,
facts.
So, but yeah, so I'm to Dinosaur Adventure. It's definitely different from indoor to outdoor, but I'm excited we're going back to indoor because I'll have my own stage again.
That's right.
Once again, I'll have my own stage again. I'm kidding. But I have my own stage because I always walked in with my smoking stick and nice big pina coladas and be like, which way the stage? You know what I'm saying? Because a little bit of rent there too, just for fun. But and we became a family, the Dino fam.
Sure.
And Carnival Chris here. Welcome to Dinosaur Adventure, where every minute is a complete adventure, because it's just the kids go nuts. The
they
kids
do.
Love dinosaurs. The cute little outfits. I mean, Target, get it together. You have to start making adult hoodies that the thing goes like this. You know what I'm saying? Like cool. And we had 25 people come in. Grandmasaurus, Unclesaurus,
I'll die.
Like dinosaur, and they all have the pin up, the look with the little red bandanas. But everyone had a Saurus shirt on. Because like I said, when you can't pronounce the dinosaur, you just say Saurus. And they're like, oh, okay.
That sounded right.
Because just like when I used to give tours at the Hard Rock, right?
Yep.
The memorabilia on the walls. I'd have
Make it up
behind me going, Chris. And then I get the press, and then they'd be like, I don't think that's right. I'm like, Kurt Cobain wrote this on the way to Washington. You wouldn't believe, I made up so much. That's when you give me that position.
Tough. It's on them. No, it's on them.
And the Britney Spears dress, crazy? Come on now.
Come on.
Oh, you weren't at the one in Minneapolis. Oh, see, that's another thing too. I get my hard rock. I think when a hard rock meets a hard rocker, like everybody.
Yeah.
Because you've either been to a naughty nurse party with them or you've been to a Halloween party that you'll never forget.
That's right.
Or you come home 6 days later and you in Vegas was somehow involved.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Based on that, we're going to get to section 2 so we can get into specifics. Well, folks, that was section 1. We hope you enjoyed your apps. We're going to go on to the entrees after a quick break.
Yeah. Please. I have no pants on either. But I like same shit, different pile.